Hi, Grey Tiger here, and welcome to my series on the unique mechanics of each of the races in Warhammer 2. Last time we looked at the Vampire Coast, and today we look at the last undead race, the Vampire Counts. The Vampire Counts were part of the Game 1 release, and have had a few minor updates over the years, but they feel like they are stuck back in the Game 1 meta. The starting positions of the Lords are mostly clustered around a few regions at the bottom of the Empire, and the race-wide mechanics need some love, with the individual Lords needing changes and mechanics of their own to make them feel more unique. This is the penultimate episode of this series, at least until Game 3 has been released. So, let's start as always by taking a look at the mechanics available to all of the factions. The first race-wide mechanic is the Raised Dead ability, where new units can be raised from the dead with the quality and quantity of available troops increasing when close to famous battle sites. This is a core aspect of the Vampire Counts, and allows for quick army creation and reinforcement. To add a little more variety for the different Lords, it would be nice if they each had a bonus to raising certain types of troops, with core units such as skeletons and zombies also having varying stats and weapons depending on where they were raised. For instance, skeletons raised in the Empire regions would be much like your basic skeleton warrior, while skeletons raised after a battle with the greenskins would have larger models reflecting the race they were raised from. The second mechanic is the Vampiric Corruption, which is spread by characters and buildings to nearby settlements. The corruption will cause those regions public order issues, and will cause attrition to enemy armies. The Vampire Counts also suffer attrition in lands that are not sufficiently corrupted, so it is very important to try to spread as much corruption as possible to regions you plan on targeting. The corruption on the map looks great, and it really feels like you are controlling a malevolent, unstoppable force as the scenery changes. Though much like the Raised Dead mechanic, this could be expanded with each legendary lord having a unique interaction with the corruption, which could range from increased magical prowess to combat stat increases to the ability to raise more powerful undead the higher the corruption level. The next mechanic for the Vampire Counts is Bloodlines, which are used to summon the most powerful lords and their unique attributes specific to their bloodlines. These lords and the faction-wide benefits that are unlocked with the Bloodkiss resource is gained from vassalized factions, assassinating characters, and killing enemy faction leaders in battle. This is a good enough mechanic that unlocks some interesting characters, but it could do with some additional modifiers based on which faction you are playing as. Perhaps the bloodline that matches your faction leader could have improved benefits, for instance. I'd be interested to learn what additions you would make to this mechanic to improve its power. Now, for a new race-wide mechanic, I would propose Vampire Cults, which act much like the Pirate Coves or Skaven Undercities. Heroes should have the ability to establish cults in enemy or neutral cities, or an additional option to establish a cult when you capture a settlement will be added. The first building chain that will be built will be the Crypt, which allows the player to recruit 2 or 3 variants of cultists from the region, and also spreads a small amount of corruption. The second building chain is the Vampire Lair, which provides bonuses to vampires in the region, spreads corruption, and increases the winds of magic available to the player's wizards. The third building chain is the Treasure Vault, which siphons 20% of the settlement's income. We would also have a unique building for each of the legendary lords that provides additional campaign bonuses and unit improvements. That's the race-wide mechanics covered, so let's move on to the individual legendary lords. Our first lord is Vlad von Carstein, who has the Dark Kiss effects that provide plus 30 points to diplomatic relations with Disciples of Nagash, plus 10% campaign movement range for all characters, and access to unique building within Castle Drakenhof. The effect also provides him with 1 Blood Kiss at the start of the game. Vlad has a minor mechanic called Beloved in Death, where Vlad and Isabella have improved stats when reinforcing each other's armies in battle. It's a small thing, but a nice touch all the same. As a new mechanic for Vlad, we would add a system called Master of Undeath, where Vlad earns upgrades from completing quest chains, which may involve destroying specific enemy armies, raising or occupying specific settlements, or destroying or allying with certain factions. The upgrades earned would fall into 3 categories, based on the 3 core aspects of an undead army: infantry, cavalry, and monstrous units, with each category having 9 upgrades of increasing power. The player is free to choose any upgrade as long as they have the required resource available. When all upgrades for a specific category are unlocked, a regiment of renown based on that category becomes available for recruitment. Our second legendary lord is Isabella von Carstein, who has the Beloved in Death effects, which provide +3 hero capacity for vampires, and weapon strength +25% for embedded vampire heroes. Along with this, she has a unique building in Castle Drakenhof. Much like Vlad, she starts the campaign with 1 blood kiss, and Isabella shares the mechanic that improves the stats of herself and Vlad when they are reinforcing one another in battle. The new mechanic we will give Isabella is called Perfumes of Undeath, where Isabella unlocks magical perfumes that provide bonuses on the battlefield to herself, vampire lords, and vampire heroes. The bonuses are also applied to all units in an area around her and the other vampires. There are 6 perfumes, which are automatically unlocked as Isabella reaches certain amounts of dark magic. The first perfume is unlocked at level 4 and gives all vampires increased melee attack. The second perfume is unlocked at level 5 and gives all vampires increased melee defense and armor. The third perfume is unlocked at level 8 and gives all vampires increased bonus for infantry. The fourth perfume is unlocked at level 9 and gives all vampires increased weapon damage. The fifth perfume is unlocked at level 12 and gives all vampires increased physical resistance, and the sixth and final perfume is unlocked at level 13 and gives all vampires regeneration. The levels between the perfume unlocks provide campaign bonuses and increase the range and duration of the perfumes in battle. Our third legendary lord is Mannfred von Carstein, who has the Legions of the Dead effects, which increase campaign movement range by 10% for all characters, reduce upkeep for Graveguard and Black Knights by 15%, and increases the recruitment rank of Graveguard and Black Knights by 2. This effect also provides the player with 1 Blood Kiss at the start of the campaign. Mannfred has no unique mechanic, so we will give him a new mechanic where he can gain access to additional magical spells, each having 3 tiers of power. These spells are unlocked as new territories are captured, with the player able to choose which spell to unlock or upgrade based on the number of points they have to spend, with each point being equal to 1 region. As Mannfred uses the more powerful spells, the very nature of reality is warped, causing random events and modified abilities for units in his army. The duration of these effects is displayed on Mannfred's new UI panel, and is reduced each turn. When the timer reaches 0, the effects wane and reality returns to normal. Some of the random events that may be encountered would include regions randomly flipping from one faction to another, possibly even one of the player's regions, random armies suddenly spawning in the player's regions, the player may be able to recruit units from other factions nearby, or corruption in the region may suddenly appear or disappear. Another effect of the reality being modified is dark magic income being increased for all buildings until the timer hits 0. This secondary effect would certainly make for some chaotic interactions in the campaign, which should mix things up a little bit. The next legendary lord is Helman Ghorst, who has the Student of Darkness effects that provide charge bonus +12 for corpse cart units, provides an additional 3 ranks when recruiting corpse cart units, and increases the casualty replenishment rate and research rate by 20%. Once again, Helman has no unique mechanic, so I propose a new mechanic called the Liber Noctis, which sees Helman searching for pages from the Great Tome to uncover the secrets of the Eldritch. The pages are spread around the map in different settlements, and with different armies or fleets. Once he has located the parts of the tome, they can be combined to unlock magical rituals, which once performed, unlock powerful faction-wide bonuses and grant access to unique units. The first ritual is the Ritual of the Twisted Plane, which morphs reality to greatly increase the corruption of regions and the attrition it inflicts upon enemy armies. The ritual also increases the rate at which dark magic is accrued and unlocks access to giant skeleton regiments that twist the area around them, causing negative effects to enemies in combat. The second ritual is the Ritual of Horrors from Beyond, that unlocks a reoccurring event that spawns horrific creatures into your lands every X number of turns. These creatures must be defeated in battle, after which they can be recruited into your armies. Alongside these events, all monstrous units also receive large bonuses and reduced upkeep costs. Our final vampire count lord is Heinrich Kemmler, who has the Leashmaster effects that increase diplomatic relations with Chaos by 30 points and reduces the upkeep cost of Necromancer heroes by 50%. For Heinrich, I would add a new mechanic that allows him to draw magical power from enemies he defeats in battle. This power is represented by two new resources, Essence of Chaos and Essence of Order, and the type drawn from a battle depends on if the enemy represents the forces of Chaos or Order, respectively. As Heinrich draws more power, he gains additional bonuses against the races of Order or Chaos, along with campaign bonuses that affect his armies when in enemy territory. Heinrich must be careful to balance the essence collected though, for if a large imbalance is created, then he will start to suffer negative effects until the balance is restored. Well, there we have the last of the vampire counts. On the whole, it is clear that the vampire counts have been left behind and could benefit from some additional mechanics. Given the power to control direction of the vampire counts, what mechanics would you change, and what new mechanics would you add to bring them up to standard? Please let me know in the comments below. Only one race remains in the series, the Wood Elves, which we all know are about to get an update in a few weeks' time. As such, I will hold off on their mechanics video until after that update, so I can include the new lords and systems that will be changed or added. I'm Grey Tiger, and I'll hopefully see you next time.